Welcome to the fashion show that is NFL Total Access. Willie McGinest, Steve White, Mike Yam with you. He will have a smile for probably the rest of his life.
Yes.
Grandpa's.
I am.
Yes.
I am. We had our first.
There you go. Congrats.
Here with the Giants.
What?
Unfortunately, I know, right? A little bit of surprise. This conversation not about a win. In fact, Daniel Jones entered Week 11 with 4 turnovers, tied for the fewest in the league among qualified quarterbacks. Longest streak of passes without a pick. He had 2 in the first half against the Lions in a loss, a major buzzkill for that Giants offense.
Anytime you turn the ball over twice, it's tough to say you played well. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, is taking care of the ball and making sure we're avoiding those situations and not putting our defense in a bad spot going on the field. So looking to clean up those things certainly and avoid making those mistakes.
I will say this in Daniel Jones' defense, because much maligned heading into the year, he hasn't made a lot of mistakes. Right. Now, this one cost him in a big way because the Lions, this was a gettable game for him, and looking at this schedule, it is a little daunting. What's your level of concern right now for the G-Men?
Well, you know what? The G-Men are 7-3, so they're in a really good place that nobody expected them to be in. They're at the top of the NFC. But there's some things when you talk about the players and how they have been winning football games that may make you think, well, they may not be the same team. They got some injuries. The tight end is injured. You know, the receiver is out a little bit. Saquon didn't have a big game. The world is falling. So what? He'll get back on track. But I still think this is a really good football team going forward. The thing that bothers me is out of the 7 games they have remaining, 5 of those are division games, which is a tough division right now going forward. So they're going to have to play the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Commanders, and they've got to win the majority of those games, in my opinion, to get into the playoffs, regardless of their record remaining.
Yeah, but I think they will. I mean, like you said, everyone's just like, okay, the Lions, they lose this game, their schedule stiffens significantly.
Right.
All of a sudden, the floor is going to fall out. They're not going to win the rest of their games, right? They're going to lose some of these games, right, but they're a good enough football team, right? So, and they got an opportunity to get back on the ground against Dallas. Here's the big concern. You mentioned like Wan'Dale Robinson being out the wide receiver.
Bellinger, I mean, he was a big
Bellinger, the tight end, he's out. Where are the threats out wide, right? So they've got to find a way, because teams are going to do to them what Detroit did to him. Stack the box, dare Daniel Jones to beat him with his arm and a little bit with his legs. That's going to be consistent.
Right.
So maybe they unleash somebody like, Matt Breida, right, the tailback. Use him like how Dallas uses Tony Pollard. He's a guy who can hit the big play and the receiving game. They're going to have to manufacture ways to move the ball. But this is still a really good football team. I think the defensive front will play better. They won't be as physically handled as they were against the Lions.
And to Brian Daboll's credit, he has used every weapon he has available. Every single receiver, tight end, running back, whatever you can think of, he's used and schemed with.
I don't know if there's any more tools in that toolbox to go and play with. And on the flip side here, defensively, this is a Giants team that's going to have its hands full. We've been talking about, hey, how do you stop this two-headed monster with Zeke and Tony Pollard? The effectiveness in which they are running the football right now can't be understated.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the element that we talked about, right, going forward. Can the Dallas Cowboys be physical? Can they win in the trenches? And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys last week, just a week ago, this is physicality. This is how you win. This is 12 personnel right here. And when you watch Zeke get up in there, he is the power back, okay? He's the thunder. He does a good job of sticking his feet and threatening the outside. He sees the wall. What does that do? It gets all the guys to over pursuit. Great vision, put his foot in the ground. He's going to hit the lane. Now, most backs would be stopped right there. No, he powers for about 8 or more yards. That's what Zeke brings to the table. Pollard, this is what he brings to the table. Same formation, 12, YY. Does a great job of setting up his blocks. He's patient. He lets his blocks get to where they need to be. He sees the lane right now. There's the vision. He puts his foot in the ground. Now, you talk about being explosive, fast, and getting through the hole. He's out the gate. Nobody's going to run down Tony Pollard. Now, that's the running game. This is the other versatility that the backs bring. When you're looking for matchups with backs and linebackers and safeties, this is perfect. That's Jordan Hicks trying to guard Pollard on the outside. He doesn't even really run a wheel route. He just outruns Jordan Hicks, gets to the sideline. Dak throws a perfect pass right there in the breadbasket, and Pollard is to the house. So we know what the Dallas Cowboys have been, right? Throwing the ball down the field. Well, they're not at the top of the league in passing, but they are when it comes to running the ball and controlling the trenches. If they want to make a deep run in the playoffs, That element right there is going to have to be consistent, and they're going to have to win on both sides of the ball, which they're doing on defense. But if they keep doing that and possibly add OBJ, it's going to be a problem, Steve.
Consistency, though, man. That's the Cowboys, just that's the catchphraase, consistency.
Right.
Or inconsistency, if you want to call it that.
Look, 4 touchdowns between both of those dudes, 2 in the air for Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, the rushing touchdowns, and that defense, because you said both sides of the football, holding Minnesota to just 3 points. A dominant win for Dallas. It looked good on the football fields. Here's how it sounded.
Lock on to dominate.
Prescott in the gun, back looking, standing. Hurry up, throw the right flat, caught. Pollard, 25, 20 on the right sideline. Pollard streaks in. Touchdown.
Not let him.
Cousins back, pressure. Parsons got it. Just go down, Kirk. Just don't hurt yourself.
Touchdown! At the 5! Kirk sacked again.
Oh, this is getting ugly for Minnesota. Wow. 2nd and goal from the 1. Elliott. How about you, Zeke? Spin off the guy and walk the dog. Touchdown, Zeke.
Yeah, that was a rough one for Minnesota. It was rough for that dude as well. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings lost by 37 against that Cowboys squad. Cousins sacked a career-high 7 times. This might be kind of nice for him. Playing on a short week, get that bad taste out of your mouth. He faced the Patriots.
That was might be.
It might be a little bit of everything. I heard a lot of people saying afterwards, whether it's my family or, friends or whatever, that, hey, if this happens and then if we had made this play, then suddenly it's a different game. And you're like, I agree with you in the sense that momentum, I think you mentioned momentum, that yes, that happens. And yes, it is a different game. Maybe it feels different. On the other hand, it just doesn't sound like the mature thing to say, like, we got to be better. And I'm not going to act like 2 plays was the difference. So, it's important to just correct it, fix it.
This is a Minnesota team, and Kirk is right, man. Like, that game does not come down.
No.
Lose by 37, it's not 1 or 2 plays.
I'm glad he was honest.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy. This is probably a tougher test than people realize. Patriots defense has been balling out recently. I got to imagine, if you're inside that New England locker room, you just saw Dallas get 7 sacks, you're ready to eat on Thursday.
Matthew Judon licking his chops, Uche, Wise, all those different guys, because first of all, they couldn't block anything. And when you can't protect and you can't run the football, we saw what we saw with the Minnesota Vikings versus Dallas. Now, you're going against one of the best to ever do it, who set the blueprint at taking away your #1 weapon, okay? They did that last week with Justin Jefferson. They did a great job of singling them up, double teaming them from up high to low with a safety and a quarterback. Well, guess who specializes in that? Bill Belichick. If you've been to the Bill Belichick Academy, he will teach you that your best player is not going to beat us. Find a way to stop him, slow him down, and make other guys beat us. Now, in Minnesota's defense, they got more than one really good player.
Right.
But it starts with Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson. Take those 2 guys away, which Bill Belichick is going to do. He's going to disguise. He's going to move guys around. He's going to double team from different ways with the safety from inside outside, from outside inside. He's going to force you to see one thing and do something different, and he's going to make other guys step up. But those other guys are pretty good. So I don't think the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, and Kevin O'Connell's going to see anything different than what they saw against the Cowboys, except they may see a little bit more, because they'll go man, they'll bring more pressure, whereas the Cowboys, they were getting home with just 4. And the Patriots may give you 4, may give you 5, may bring 6. They may give you a lot of different looks. So you got to be prepared for anything.
Here's one thing they're going to see differently. They're going to see an offense that doesn't put up 40 burgers on teams consistently. And that's something that, the Patriots have to worry about. Can they score enough to keep up with the Vikings?
Is 10-3 good enough?
10-3. Hey, Willie, the points don't have to come on offense. Right. You talk about putting all that smoke on Kirk Cousins. If he puts one up there, maybe the defense gets the score. This is, we talk how poorly this Patriots offense is. Let's not get ridiculous here. They've played several games where they're scoring in the mid-20s this year. They haven't won them all, but if this defense continues to play like they're playing, Mac Jones in this offense can do enough to put points on the board. And if you can get a kicking game score, or if you can get a defensive stop that denies a score, that could be enough with the way this team is playing. But I think, again, Dalvin Cook is the real barometer. If they slow him down, that's what changes the Vikings offense, because the Vikings really for years have gone as Dalvin Cook goes.
And Steve, you made a great point. They got to score points. This offense can't go in and score 10 or 13. They do have to score points. I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook neutralized in that last game because they had no choice. They had to pass the ball. They were in such a deep hole. Keep in mind, and I know we've been talking about it, but the Cowboys and Vikings